Detroit. It is almost, except it isn't, unimaginable what has happened to Detroit. Almost unimaginable, except it isn't unimaginable. It was, in fact, entirely predictable what has happened to Detroit. And it has been predicted. And it's just the first of, sadly, what will be many to come. A lot of people alive today have no memory of the Detroit that was. Detroit, Michigan was at one time one of the great cities in the world. It was among the richest and most successful cities in this country. It was the envy of the world, primarily because the assembly line to mass produce automobiles was invented there. And the automobile industry's home was Detroit. Motown, Berry Gordy. It was the envy of the world, and now it's the biggest city in the United States to ever go bankrupt. And why? Two things that are actually under the same umbrella. Unions and unchecked liberalism have led to the bankruptcy of Detroit. Would you like to hear something that is, to me, interesting historically? Detroit, now bankrupt, was where companies first started offering health care benefits and other perks in order to compete for skilled labor during World War II, when there were wage and price controls. And so with wage and price controls, the market will always outsmart government and limits. And so the birth of health care benefits was created in Detroit as a means of becoming attractive to people seeking good jobs, because there were wage and price controls in place in World War II. And now those very benefits have killed the city of their birth, the birth of the health care benefits. Is that, the chickens have come home to roost, in the famous words of Reverend Wright. Is that not something? The city where health care benefits were created have been brought down essentially by health care benefits and pensions and unions. Whatever else Detroit is, it is the epitome of everything that's wrong with the Democrat Party. And yet, Obama is going to launch another speaking tour today about his latest new economic plan, which is really just the same old thing he's been saying for 5 years. And what Detroit has been practicing for the last 30 years. Detroit has been run exclusively by the Democrats for over 30 years, folks. The last Republican mayor in Detroit was elected in 1957. Only one Republican has been elected to the city council in Detroit since 1970. Back in 1960, the city of Detroit actually had the highest per capita income in the country. My, how things change. 1960, 53 years ago, the city of Detroit actually had the highest per capita income in the entire nation. 60 years ago, Detroit was the fourth largest city in the United States. And since then, in the last 60 years, Detroit has lost 63% of its population. The statistics, there are 25 facts about Detroit and its plunge to bankruptcy that will stun and amaze you. And I have them.